Your shadow just walked away without you. That's exactly what happened to Elias Vakalis on a sweltering summer afternoon in 1987. The Aegean sun hung heavy in the sky, pressing down on Nisyros Island. Elias had been hiking for hours, his shirt damp with sweat, his camera strap digging into his shoulder. He wasn't supposed to be here alone. His friend had cancelled last minute, but Elias had always been the kind of person who chased the unknown. The stories about this place, the cave of the unseen, had intrigued him for years. Locals spoke of it in hushed tones, their voices dropping when children wandered too close. They said shadows inside didn't behave like shadows should. They moved when you didn't. They left when you didn't want them to. Elias had laughed it off. Superstition, he'd thought. Just tricks of the light, the way caves play with your mind. But now, standing at the mouth of the cave, the stories didn't feel so ridiculous. The entrance yawned before him, a jagged maw of darkness that seemed to exhale a cool, damp breath. He hesitated, just for a second. Then, with a deep breath, he stepped inside, his sneakers crunching on loose gravel. The cave swallowed him whole. The temperature dropped instantly, the air clinging to his skin like wet silk. The walls glistened with moisture, slick and black under the dim light filtering in from outside. Elias raised his camera, his finger hovering over the record button. He told himself he was being silly, that this was just a cave, nothing more. But his hands were steady, his pulse quickening. He pressed record. For the first few seconds, the footage was unremarkable. Then Elias panned the camera to the left, and there it was, his shadow. Cast against the cave wall, sharp and defined, but utterly, terrifyingly wrong. It wasn't mimicking him. It wasn't stretching or bending with his movements. It stood perfectly still, like a statue, like a person waiting for something. Elias froze. His breath hitched in his throat. He waved his arm slowly at first, then frantically. His shadow didn't move. It just stood there, a dark mirror of himself, watching. Then he took a step forward. His shadow didn't follow. It stayed rooted in place, as if it had decided, right then and there, that it was done being his. Elias's stomach twisted. He took another step. His shadow turned its head and began walking deeper into the cave, away from him, away from the light. His voice cracked as he called out, the sound bouncing off the walls, mocking him. Hey, stop. His shadow didn't stop. It didn't even slow down. Elias's heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drumbeat of panic. He followed, the camera still rolling, his hands shaking so badly the footage blurred. The cave twisted, the path narrowing until the walls pressed in on either side. His shadow led him around a sharp bend, then another, the darkness swallowing them both whole. And then, suddenly, it was gone. Elias stood in the blackness, his breath ragged, his skin prickling with cold sweat. He turned, expecting to see the faint glow of the cave entrance behind him, but there was nothing. The path he'd taken was gone. He shouted for help, his voice raw and desperate. No one answered. The camera kept recording, its red light the only proof he wasn't already a ghost. 3 days later, search teams found Elias's camera lying near the cave entrance, as if it had been carefully placed there. The tape was still inside, untouched. When they played it back, the last few seconds showed something that made the blood drain from their faces. Elias's shadow, detached from his body, walking away with purpose as if it had somewhere to be. Then the screen went black. Elias was never seen again. But here's the thing. Elias wasn't the first to vanish in that cave. The cave of the unseen has been a part of Nisyros' lore for generations, long before tourists like Elias ever set foot on the island. Locals have always known to stay away, their warnings passed down like heirlooms. They say the walls are lined with something unnatural, a mineral that doesn't just reflect light, it plays with it. That's what happened to Maria in 2012. She was a tourist, visiting the island with her husband. They'd heard the stories, but like so many before them, they didn't believe. Maria wanted to see the cave for herself. Her husband waited outside, leaning against a sun-warmed rock, scrolling through photos on his phone. Minutes passed. Then he heard her scream, a sound that didn't just echo, but multiplied, bouncing off the cave walls until it was coming from everywhere at once. He dropped his phone and ran inside, his heart in his throat. The cave was empty. Maria was gone. The only trace of her was a single footprint in the dust, leading deeper into the cave. But it wasn't her footprint. It was too long, too slender, too wrong. It was her shadow's footprint. The cave was sealed after that. A heavy iron gate was installed, its bars thick and unyielding, locked and chained like something out of a medieval prison. But the stories didn't stop. Fishermen say they've seen shadows moving inside the cave at night, even when no one is there. Hikers claim they've heard whispers coming from the cave's depths, voices that sound like their own, calling their names in a tone that's just a little too familiar. And sometimes, when the sun hits the cave just right, you can see them shadows, walking alone, their forms shifting and stretching, waiting, always waiting. In 2019, a researcher named Dr. Anna Kouris tried to solve the mystery. She was a skeptic, a scientist who didn't believe in ghosts or curses, but the cave fascinated her. She spent weeks studying it, taking samples, running tests. She confirmed that a rare crystal was the source, refracting light impossibly while emitting a strange field that warps perception and steals minds. People who go inside don't just disappear. They forget. They become hollow, their shadows filling the void they leave behind. Anna wrote in her notes that the cave doesn't just create shadows, it replaces people with them. She scribbled frantically, her handwriting growing more erratic with each passing day. The shadows aren't just copies, she wrote. They're upgrades. They remember. They learn. They want. She never published her findings. 3 days after writing those words, she vanished inside the cave. Her notebook was found near the entrance, the last page torn out. The only thing left was a single sentence, scrawled in the margin in a hand that wasn't quite hers. It's not the cave that's haunted. It's the shadows. Now the cave is sealed, but the gate isn't enough to keep them in. Locals say the shadows still wander the island at dusk, slipping between the gnarled olive trees like thieves in the night. They say if you listen closely, when the wind blows just right, you can hear them whispering. Not just any words, your name, your secrets, the things you've tried to forget. Would you dare to step inside? Would you risk it, even knowing what might happen?